Something very important happened in the Middle East. It was a dramatic event that changed things. The United States of America decided to use its military power. The U.S. launched attacks on specific locations inside Iran. These places were important sites for Iran's nuclear program. The goal was to stop Iran from making nuclear weapons. The U.S. used special, large bombs designed to reach deep underground. These attacks caused damage to the facilities. The U.S. President stated that the military operation was successful. Following these attacks by the United States, Iran was in a difficult situation. It felt isolated and needed allies. So, Iran decided to look for support from other major powers. Iran turned to the east and began discussions with China and Russia. Iran joined formal security talks with these two countries. This was a significant diplomatic step for Iran. Iran's defense minister traveled to China to participate in these high-level meetings. Iran joining these talks meant that Iran, China, and Russia were becoming closer partners. They started to build a new, powerful group. This group was different from the Western countries, like the United States and its friends. It was seen as a challenge to the traditional power of the West in the world. This new alliance was very important. China has great economic strength. Russia has strong military forces. Iran has influence and position in the Middle East. Together, they created a powerful combination. This situation changed the balance of power. It created a new team that stood against the United States. This moment was critical and could have big effects on the world stage. It showed a possible new direction for international relations, where countries form new friendships to balance global power. It was a serious development that made the future seem less certain. 2. The start of the fight. Israel began the fight against Iran. This military action was taken because Israel wanted to stop Iran from developing nuclear weapons. It was a very important and serious step in the conflict. Soon after, the United States decided to join the fighting. This greatly increased the size and danger of the situation in the Middle East. The United States military used special, very large bombs. These powerful weapons are known as bunker busters. They are specifically designed to attack buildings that are built deep underground and are heavily protected. These bunker buster bombs are extremely heavy, weighing many thousands of pounds. They carry a large amount of explosives. Their purpose is to break through strong barriers like concrete and rock to reach hidden targets below the surface. The U.S. targeted key nuclear facilities in Iran with these powerful bombs. The three main sites that were hit were the Fordow Fuel Enrichment Plant, the Natanz nuclear facility, and other important installations located near the city of Esfahan. These places were vital parts of Iran's nuclear program and were often located underground for security. After the attacks, the President of the United States made a public statement. He announced that the military mission had been a spectacular success. He told everyone that Iran's main nuclear facilities had been completely and totally obliterated, suggesting that the program was fully destroyed. However, reports that came out later from other sources and intelligence experts presented a different picture of the results. These reports confirmed that the attacks did cause significant damage to Iran's nuclear programs, buildings, and equipment. Machines called centrifuges, which are used in the process of making nuclear material, were broken. For example, the head of an international group that checks nuclear activities confirmed that the centrifuges at the Fordow site were no longer working after the bombs hit. These delicate machines are very sensitive to the strong shaking caused by big explosions. But the intelligence reports highlighted a critical limitation of the attacks. While the facilities and machines were damaged, the actual nuclear material, specifically the enriched uranium needed to potentially make weapons, was not destroyed. Bombs cannot make an element like uranium disappear. Much of this material was still in Iran, even if it was buried under the rubble of the damaged sites. According to initial intelligence assessments, the American bombing campaign might have only set back Iran's nuclear program by a limited amount of time, perhaps just a few months. While the strikes damaged the ability to enrich more material quickly, they did not permanently end Iran's potential nuclear capability because the existing material remained. So, the attacks were a major military operation and marked the start of direct armed conflict. They caused serious damage to facilities and equipment, but they did not achieve the complete destruction of the nuclear program as initially claimed. The main nuclear threat continued because the material was still present. This situation left the future uncertain and the region full of tension. The fight had begun, but it was far from finished. 3. Iran's new friends. After the attacks, Iran felt alone. The strikes by the United States and Israel caused much damage. Iran needed help and friends. So, Iran looked to other countries. It decided to join important talks with China and Russia. These talks were part of a large group. This group is called the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or SCO. The SCO has many countries in Asia. It helps countries work together on security. Iran became a member of the SCO. The meeting happened in China, in the city of Qingdao. It was a meeting for the defense leaders from the SCO countries. Iran's defense minister, Aziz Nasirzadeh, went to China for the talks. This was his first time traveling outside Iran since the fighting. This visit showed how important the meeting was for Iran. At the meeting, China showed support for Iran. China's defense minister, Dong Jun, spoke about global issues. He used words that were similar to what Iran said about the United States. He talked about some countries acting alone and causing problems. This was seen as support for Iran's side. The SCO meeting let Iran, China, and Russia discuss security ideas. They talked about working together more. They agreed to make their military cooperation stronger. This partnership helps Iran not feel so alone after the attacks. It gives Iran a new team to work with against pressure from Western countries. The SCO is a place where these countries can talk and help each other when facing challenges from outside. China buys much oil from Iran. This helps Iran's money situation. Iran is also important for China's plan to build trade routes. Russia and Iran are also closer now. Iran gives Russia weapons. Russia gives Iran military technology. This helps both countries. Meeting in the SCO shows that Iran, China, and Russia are becoming closer friends. This new group could change the balance of power. For Iran, joining these talks was a key step after the difficult attacks. It was a way to find new friends and be stronger. 4. China's plan. China has its own strong reasons to be friends with Iran. These reasons are important for China's future and its place in the world. One main reason is energy. China needs a very large amount of oil to power its many cities, factories, and businesses. Iran has large amounts of oil, and China is the biggest buyer of Iran's oil, perhaps buying about 90% of what Iran sells to other countries. Buying oil from Iran is good for China because the price is often lower than the market price. Sometimes China pays much less, maybe 30% less than others for Iran's oil. This buying is also very important for Iran's economy. Sanctions from some Western countries make it very difficult for Iran to sell its oil and get money. China buying this oil gives Iran crucial income, money that it needs to run the country and support its other activities. So, the oil trade is a key part of the friendship for both countries. Another big reason for China's friendship with Iran is connected to China's large plan for trade and building connections across continents. This important plan is called the Belt and Road Initiative. The idea is to build many roads, train lines, ports, and other connections to make trade easier and faster between China, Asia, Europe, and Africa. Iran is in a very important position on the world map for this plan. Iran sits on important land routes between East Asia and West Asia. Using land routes through Iran can help China send goods more safely and reliably. It helps China avoid sea routes, like those through narrow straits, which could be blocked or watched closely by other countries, especially if there are problems or tensions. So, Iran is a key country for China's future trade paths.
China is interested in building roads and train lines in Iran as part of this big plan. But China is also very careful in its relationship with Iran, especially when it comes to bigger international problems. While China supports Iran in many ways, for example by buying oil and disagreeing with U.S. sanctions, it tries hard not to get into a direct military conflict with the United States. China has very big trade and economic links with the U.S. and countries in Europe. A big war or conflict could hurt China's economy badly and stop its plans for growth. Because of this, China walks a careful line. It speaks out against actions it does not like, such as military attacks on Iran, and gives Iran diplomatic support or trade. However, when there is a direct military problem, like countries attacking Iran, China does not send its soldiers or powerful weapons to directly help Iran fight. China wants to protect its interests, such as getting oil and building trade routes through Iran.
But at the same time, it wants to avoid a dangerous war with powerful nations like the U.S. This careful way of acting shows that China's support for Iran is mostly about China's own strategic needs. It is about securing energy and building trade routes for China's future. While China supports Iran, its main goal is not to fight America. China wants to be friends with Iran because it is helpful for China's large economic and trade plans. But it will not put itself in a direct military conflict just for Iran. China is focused on its long-term growth and influence in the world. 5. Russia's game. Russia and Iran have become much closer partners. This closeness has grown especially since the war in Ukraine started. Iran has provided Russia with important weapons, such as many drones. Iran has also sent bombs and missiles. These weapons have been used by Russia in Ukraine. This has been helpful for Russia's military efforts. For Iran, it has been a way to test its weapons in real fights and to get money. In return for this help, Russia has provided Iran with advanced military technology. Russia has given Iran technical information and parts. They have even shared some Western military equipment that Russia has captured. This sharing of technology helps Iran make its own military stronger and more modern. It is an exchange that benefits both nations. They signed a special agreement in January of 2025. It is a long-term partnership agreement set to last for 20 years. This agreement talks about working together to face military threats. It also says they will share military technology and hold joint military exercises. However, it is important that this agreement does not include a promise for Russia to defend Iran with its army if Iran is attacked. This limitation was clearly seen during the recent attacks by the United States on Iran's nuclear sites. Russia did not send its military forces to protect Iran. Russian officials gave statements of support for Iran after the strikes. Russia's president met with the foreign minister of Iran. He offered support to the Iranian people.
But he did not promise specific military action or financial help. Russia has a complicated set of goals in the Middle East. Russia wants to keep good relationships with several countries in the area at the same time. One key country for Russia in the Middle East is Israel. Russia tries hard to maintain good relations with Israel. This affects Russia's actions in places like Syria.
To avoid upsetting Israel, Russia has been careful about selling its most advanced weapons systems to Iran. The war in Ukraine also plays a role in Russia's decisions. Russia relies on Iran for military supplies like drones. But the war also uses up a lot of Russia's military power and resources. This means Russia has less ability to send large military forces to help allies far away, like in the Middle East. Sometimes, Russia has suggested it could help Iran and the United States have talks. Russia wants to be a mediator in the conflict. This shows Russia's actions are part of a complex strategy. Russia is a partner with Iran and supports its goals to challenge the power of the West. But Russia also has its own interests and needs to balance its relationships with different countries in the region. Russia wants to keep its important role in the Middle East. It is part of the growing group that stands against the United States' global influence. But Russia must also act carefully because of its own needs and limitations. 6. A new team. A new and important group has come together. This group is made up of 3 countries: Iran, China, and Russia. Some people call them an axis of resistance. This name describes their purpose. They have a shared goal. They want to challenge the global power of the United States. They do not want the United States to be the only leading country. Each country in this new team has important strengths that help the group. China is very strong economically. It has a large economy and a lot of money. China is also advanced in technology and manufacturing. This economic strength allows China to provide financial support and resources to its partners. It makes the team stronger in terms of trade and money matters. Russia is very strong militarily. It has a big army, many different kinds of weapons, and advanced military technology. Russia can provide military help, share defense knowledge, and participate in joint military activities. This military power makes the new team more capable of defending itself or projecting strength. 6. Iran has significant influence and connections in the Middle East region. It works with various groups in countries like Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen. This regional influence means Iran can affect events and situations in a very important part of the world. This gives the new team a foothold and a voice in the Middle East. So, China brings economic power, Russia brings military strength, and Iran brings regional influence. When these 3 countries work together, they form a strong force that can oppose the power of the United States and other Western countries. This new partnership makes the international situation much more difficult and complex. For many years, the United States was seen as the single most powerful country. Now it faces a united group of powerful countries that work together against its interests. This changes the balance of power on the world stage. The reason they are together is not because they have the same type of government or the same ideas about freedom or society. Their partnership is based more on practical needs and a shared desire to see less influence from the United States. They are united by their opposition to what they see as American dominance. This shift in power is especially noticeable in key areas like the Middle East and Central Asia. In the Middle East, Iran's role, supported by China and Russia, becomes stronger. In Central Asia, a region bordering both China and Russia, this alliance solidifies their influence and pushes back against any attempts by other powers to gain ground. The formation of this new team is a major change in global politics. It shows that new centers of power are rising. It means that international relations are becoming more complicated, with different groups competing for influence. The United States and its allies must now understand and react to this strong, united front. The actions of this new team will likely shape many important events around the world in the coming years. 7. Working together. The three countries, Iran, China, and Russia, began to work together more closely. This partnership was very important for them, especially after the events. They wanted to support each other and present a united front to the Western world. They worked together in military ways. Their armies practiced together to improve their skills as a group. A key part of this was holding joint naval exercises in the sea. These exercises took place in important strategic areas like the Gulf of Oman and the Persian Gulf. For example, they had large-scale exercises called Security Belt 2025 earlier in the year, in March. These joint exercises helped their navies train and learn to coordinate their actions. It showed that they could operate effectively as a united force at sea. This was also a clear message to other countries, particularly to the United States Navy, which is present in the region. It showed that Iran, China, and Russia were a strong team ready to challenge the usual power structures in these waters. Sharing technology was another very important aspect of their close cooperation. Iran provided military drones to Russia. Russia used these drones in its ongoing conflict in Ukraine, getting important battlefield experience with them. In return for the drones, Russia supplied Iran with advanced military technology. This included more modern missile defense systems and components needed for building weapon systems. China also contributed to Iran's technology needs. Sometimes this help involved dual-use technologies or parts that could be used for civilian or military purposes, often delivered through complex routes that were difficult for Western powers to monitor. This sharing of technology made the militaries of the three countries more capable and modern. Economically, they developed ways to help each other, especially under the pressure of Western sanctions. The United States and other Western countries placed strong economic sanctions on Iran and Russia to limit their trade and income. China became a vital economic partner for both countries by purchasing their energy exports. China bought significant quantities of oil and gas from Iran. This provided Iran with essential income it needed to maintain its economy and government. China also bought energy from Russia, which was facing similar sanctions. These energy purchases helped both countries earn money and lessened the impact of the sanctions. Russia shared its experience and strategies for dealing with sanctions with Iran. They worked on creating alternative ways to trade and move money that bypassed the Western financial system, exploring the use of different currencies and payment methods. Iran also holds a strategic position for China's large Belt and Road Initiative. China invested in building and improving important ports and railway lines in Iran. These infrastructure projects facilitate the transport of energy and goods across land. Using land routes through Iran is strategically important because it provides alternatives to sea routes that could potentially be blocked or controlled by the United States Navy during a conflict. By cooperating across military training, technology sharing, and economic support, Iran, China, and Russia built a stronger and more united team. This partnership allowed them to better support each other against pressure from the United States and its allies. It represented a significant shift in the regional and global balance of power. 8. An unclear future. Iran joining China and Russia is a very big change for the world. It makes the situation more difficult. Things are still very tense between countries. People do not know for sure if the U.S. attacks stopped Iran's plans for nuclear power. The attacks may have only slowed things down for a short time. This new friendship between Iran, China, and Russia gives Iran support. It helps Iran feel stronger against countries in the West. The world is now at a very important point. The choices made now by leaders in America, China, Russia, and Iran will be very important. These decisions will decide what happens next for many countries. The future is not clear. Will there be more problems, or will the world find a way to have peace? This new group of countries changes the power in the Middle East and other places. It shows that the world is changing. It is moving away from one main power to many different powers. Because the future is so uncertain, many people are watching closely. Everyone wonders what will happen next. What do you think this new situation means for the world?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.